Sometimes you just gotta tell your team to shut up and listen. In last week's video, I included a clip where I called a reset during a Battle for Gilneas RBG. It was not going terribly well, and thus we needed the reset. That group had other issues that needed to be addressed. The way this is going to work, if you're a melee or a healer, you're going to Waterworks now, peel out. If you're range, you're staying with the rogue. Melee and healers go to Waterworks, start a fight.
Alright, Waterworks, listen to my target course.
Nobody else speaks except for me and the guy that just spoke. During the reset, I also asked people to shut up and listen to myself and one other person that was calling targets. It was a pug run, and we had so many people trying to direct the team. We had people calling out targets that shouldn't have been calling out targets. We had people just chatting and telling jokes. It was a mess. And so I just wanted to clarify a little bit on when to tell your team to shut up and when to encourage people to talk and participate in the RBG verbally. Now, depending on what type of RBG you're running, be it a casual fun run or a more competitive group, you may want to go one way or the other in terms of how strict you're going to be on how much talking there is. If it's a competitive group and what most people are saying isn't terribly helpful, cut them out. The more people talk and tell jokes and fill chat with clutter, the more risk you run of important inks being missed, strats not being heard, the target caller gets ignored, or any other combination of the above. In that clip that I posted, I had to lay down the law about midway through the game, which was pretty bad. It wasn't my group to lead, somebody else had put it all together, and then they really didn't have a target caller picked out, and they called Strat, but they called nothing more than an opener. It was classic bad planning. So I tried to salvage things halfway through, and we ended up losing anyway. But sometimes you don't want to go stomping on other people in chat. Sometimes what they're saying is genuinely useful. The big difference is it applicable to your success as a team? Things I might say if I'm not the strat caller or target caller that would be considered directly applicable to team success and thus should be allowed to be heard is calling inks, observations on what the other team is doing, picking out, giving feedback on whether or not a strat is working or not, though you may not want to do this during a team fight. Also, calling out your CCs, calling out big DPS or big cooldowns that you might have if you're maybe you're the DK and you're calling out your grip, your mass grip, or if you're a healer, you should be calling out mass dispels with all of the penalties that you guys pay for dispelling. But also in certain maps, things like Temple, where you're carrying orbs, you should be calling out what color you have and not your name. Nobody wants to have to memorize everybody's names in every pug group that they run. Call out your color. Things like that you should be saying. And if you have a team that is constantly calling out all of those things, chat can get really cluttered. It can sound like chaos, but you should be doing quite well given that chaos because it's all applicable. It's just a bit of an overflow to your mind. That said, if your team is out saying kind of stupid stuff, telling jokes, oh, did you see that? Anything that starts with dude or bro or ends with those either probably isn't useful to be heard. Anybody that's calling out targets over the target caller, now there is an exception to this. If the target caller is tunnel visioning and somebody else may call out so and so is low on health, or this other target can die, or these targets in back are killing our healers. They can call those things out, but you want to be specific with your team that there is a target caller, and anything that anybody else calls out is more like a suggestion to the target caller to try and get him to come out of that tunnel vision mode. It all comes down to communication. You want to be able to have everybody on the same page, no confusion, and that comes from being clear with everybody whose job is what and what's appropriate to be said in chat versus inappropriate. YouTubing lesson of the day: don't eat Cheetos with a black shirt just before filming. Hey man, how's it going? Yay, long time no see. I just stole all your strats and published them all over the internet. What do you mean you don't care? Oh, you're playing Overwatch. Okay, well, see you in Legion, I guess. I hope. We need more guild banners. I can still see the flag sticking out of the side here.